Today's discussion is on flow meter and the flow rate. So, before going into the topic, we need to know how measurement is done for any flow. When we look into the first diagram, it tells you a silent river which flows without any disturbance. Now again, this diagram also tells us how the flow is going to be. It's very slow, silent and peaceful in fact. And when we look into the diagram, you have a stone in between the flow, the silent flow, and how the pattern as well as the flow rate changes. Yes, so this is what is going to be. You're going to have a pipe in which the water is going to flow, and if an obstacle or an abstraction or any distraction which is going to take place in the flow, you're going to measure how the flow is going to be. Again, I would like to show you two more pictures in this. Now, this is all you're going to study about in this particular topic. You have a pipe and a water flow. Now, if you're going to have a plate or any disturbance in between the pipe during the water flow, how the flow becomes. Is the velocity going to increase or decrease, or is the pressure going to increase or decrease? And with the help of that, you're going to calculate your differential pressure. So this topic is going to be all about this. So moving into your variable head type flow meters. In the variable head type flow meters, a restriction of known dimension is generally introduced into pipeline. Consequently, there occurs a head loss or a pressure drop at the restriction with increase in the flow velocity. Measurement of this pressure drop is an indication of the flow rate. Now, head type flow measurement derives from the Bernoulli's theorem, which states that in the following stream, the sum of the pressure head, the velocity head, and the elevation head at on a point will be equal to the sum at the other point in the direction of flow plus the loss due to friction between the 2 points. The velocity head is defined as the vertical distance through which the liquid would fall to attain a given velocity, and the pressure head is a vertical distance which a column of the following liquid would rise in an open-end tube as a result of the static pressure. So in this particular chapter, we are going to see how a one-dimensional flow system is going to be assumed. So when you look into this particular diagram, this is a tube or a pipe in which the fluid or a liquid is going to flow. And when we see, we find that this black color is supposed to be the restriction which is going to be put inside your pipe where your fluid is going to flow, and the values which are placed before your restriction is your upstream, and all these are your downstreams. Now V1 represents your velocity in your section 1, A1 is your area, P1 is your pressure. Similarly for your second session. Now, before going into the derivation, we need to know what is an incompressible flow and a compressible flow, and a compressible fluid and an incompressible fluid. Now, compressible fluids are the fluids with variable density, and incompressible fluid are the fluids with constant density. They could be liquids and gases. Although there is no such thing in reality as incompressible fluid, we use this term where the change in density with pressure is so small and it is always negligible. Now, the first we will see how the flow of incompressible fluids in a pipes occur. Now, as I've told you earlier, section 1 is a position of upstream tap and section 2 is downstream, and these terms capital T, capital A, rho, V, P and Z represent temperature, area, density, stream velocity, pressure and central line elevation respectively. If this elevation is quite small such that Z2 minus Z1 is negligible, the Bernoulli's equation for an incompressible fluid ρ1 is equal to ρ2 frictionless, and adaptive flow is written as the formula P1 by rho plus V1 square by 2g is equal to P2 by rho plus V2 square by 2g, where g is the acceleration due to gravity. Now small g and capital G is all going to be the same, which gives P1 minus T. We're just rearranging the expression and writing it. And the continuity equation for this type of flow is given by capital Q is equal to A2 V2 is equal to A1 and V1, where Q is equal to volume flow rate in meter cube per second. In combining both the equations 2 and 3 and thus manipulating it, we get the expression to be like this. Hope if you have a paper and a pencil, in order to derive it, it will be much better and easier, where MVA 1 divided by square root of 1 minus A2 by A1 to the whole square is said to be the velocity approach factor, and H is equal to P1 minus P2 by rho, which is the differential head. Now few basic equations are V is equal to K1 root H, Q is equal to K1A root H, W is equal to K1A root H of P. Now there are few definitions which is mandatory to be known. One of them is beta ratio, where most variable head meters depend on the restriction in the flow path to produce a change in velocity. For the usual circular pipe, the beta ratio is the ratio between the diameter of the restriction and the inside diameter of the pipe, where beta is equal to small t divided by capital D, where d is the diameter of the restriction and d is inside diameter of the pipe, which is very important definition to be noted. The next is the Reynolds number. In practice, few velocity at any cross section approaches zero in the boundary layer adjacent to the pipe wall and varies across the diameter. This flow velocity profile has a significant effect on the relationship between flow velocity and pressure difference developed in the head meters. Now, Sir Osborne Reynolds proposed single dimensionless ratio known as Reynolds number as a criterion to describe this particular phenomenon. This number Re is expressed as Re is equal to rho mu V d, where V is velocity, d is diameter of the pipe, rho is density and mu is absolute viscosity. The other definition is discharge coefficient, which is represented by CD. The discharge coefficient C is defined as the ratio between actual volumetric flow rate and the ideal volumetric flow rate, where CD is equal to Q actual into Q ideal. Q actual is the actual volumetric flow rate and Q ideal is the ideal volumetric flow rate. For flow coefficient K, the formula is K is equal to CD divided by 1 minus beta 4, where K is the flow coefficient, CD is the discharge coefficient, beta is equal to ratio of diameters, where 1 divided by 1 minus beta 4 is known as the velocity approach factor, which is represented by MVA. So furthermore, the pressure differential at the orifice is usually expressed in liquid column height. Then P1 minus P2 is equal to rho m minus rho f of h, where h is the differential at restriction liquid column height, Pm is weight density of manometer fluid, and rho f is weight density of fluid over the manometer fluid. Finally, if the flow rate is to be converted at the control room temperature at which the fluid density is rho s, then from the equations 4, 11 and 12, we get this 13th equation. Now we have seen our incompressible fluids Now here you're going to see flow of compressible fluids in pipes. Assuming no heat flow to or from the fluid or no external work done on by the fluid, and neglecting the very small datum level difference Z1 minus Z2, we have our equation. Now here you have known that Je is a term which is introduced. E is the internal molecular energy of the fluid, J is the work equivalent of heat, V is specific volume of fluid. Employing the definition of enthalpy, H gives this expression, V2 square minus V1 square is equal to 2Gj, H1 minus H2. For an ideal gas, if the specific heats are constant, we get H1 minus H2 expression, where K is equal to ratio of specific heats, which is Cp divided by Cv. R is the gas constant for given gas, V is specific volume of fluid, and from the equation of continuity, we get W is equal to A2V2 divided by V2 is equal to A1B1 divided by V1 again. So W is the mass flow rate. Combining the equations and manipulating them, we get W to be this much bigger equation. And manometer measures P1 minus P2 and not P2 divided by P1. Therefore, it is necessary to convert this particular equation such that W is a function of P1 minus P2. So let's write P2 divided by P1 is equal to 1 minus X, such that X is equal to 1 minus P2 divided by P1. In general, for a gas flow, P2 divided by P1 is very close to unity, such that X is very close to 0. So hence, we get this expressions. So the rational expansion of Y is defined as Y is equal to compressible flow rate, which is mass divided by incompressible flow rate. So you get the expression of Y to be as this. So instead of calculating Y in 21, empirical relations are suggested, which give good results for limited P2 divided by P1 such that 0.8 less than or equal to 1. So Y becomes this. When the gas contains moisture, as further correction is required to account correctly for the density of the vapor, we say that M is equal to 1 plus the expression which is given. Kindly work it out and see so that it will be easier for you to solve it. And the specific volume of gas may be found V is equal to Y RT divided by P. The flow equation for gas is that given as Q is equal to the expression. So with this we have come to the end of compressible and incompressible fluids. Now comparing both, incompressible fluid is much easier and always ask question in fluid flow. Thank you.